Good evening once again. I'm Chris Jansing. Day 394 of the Biden administration. Donald Trump and his two eldest children lost their bid to avoid answering questions under oath about the Trump Organization's business practices. Late today, a New York judge ruled that New York Attorney General Letitia James can question them as part of her civil investigation. In a strongly worded 8-page ruling, the judge denied the Trumps' efforts to block the AG's subpoenas, writing, quote, "A state attorney general commences investigating a business entity, uncovers copious evidence of possible financial fraud, and wants to question under oath several of the entity's principals, including its namesake. She has the clear right to do so." The judge added Trump and his children must be deposed within the next 3 weeks. Donald Trump's lawyer responded with a statement that read in part, quote, "Yet another politically motivated witch hunt. The court had no interest in engaging in impartial discourse." Ivanka and Donald Trump Jr. say they will likely appeal. In a statement, the New York Attorney General said, quote, "Today, justice prevailed. No one is above the law." Meanwhile, we're still following important developments about the crisis on Ukraine's border. The United States says Moscow shows no signs of pulling Russian troops back. The White House said tonight that President Biden will hold a call with transatlantic leaders tomorrow about that Russian troop buildup. Earlier today, the president offered this warning about the standoff.
They've moved more troops in, number one. Number two, we have reason to believe that they are engaged in a false flag operation to have an excuse to go in. Every indication we have is they're prepared to go into Ukraine, attack Ukraine. My sense this will happen within the next several days.
A sudden escalation in shelling in eastern Ukraine has heightened fears of a Russian attack. NBC News chief foreign correspondent Richard Engel is on the ground in Ukraine tonight.
The stage is set for conflict. The fear is that a significant new rise in shelling along the front line could trigger a war. Ukrainian police and military say Russian-backed separatists attacked Ukrainian towns and villages, damaging a kindergarten. No children were hurt. Police released a video of them being evacuated to safety. Ukraine accused Russia of using the separatists it controls to provoke the Ukrainian military into responding with force, and thereby giving Russia an excuse to send its troops across the border.
With all of that as a backdrop, Secretary of State Antony Blinken made an unscheduled stop at the UN today on his way to meet with U.S. allies in Germany. He laid out in stark and chilling detail how Russia might create a pretext for an attack.
It could be a fabricated so-called terrorist bombing inside Russia, the invented discovery of a mass grave, a staged drone strike against civilians, or a fake, even a real, attack using chemical weapons. Russia may describe this event as ethnic cleansing or a genocide, making a mockery of a concept that we in this chamber do not take lightly. Russian missiles and bombs will drop across Ukraine. Communications will be jammed. Cyber attacks will shut down key Ukrainian institutions. After that, Russian tanks and soldiers will advance on key targets that have already been identified and mapped out in detailed plans.
The State Department said tonight Secretary Blinken will meet with Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov in Europe next week, provided there is no Russian invasion. This comes as the U.S. says Russia today expelled its second most senior official at the American embassy in Moscow, Bart Gorman. The State Department called the move, quote, unprovoked and an escalatory step. On the domestic front, the Senate passed a short-term funding bill avoiding a government shutdown that would have taken effect Friday night. That bill keeps the government running through March 11th. And over in the House, Republican leader Kevin McCarthy has endorsed Harriet Hageman, the Trump-backed candidate who's challenging Liz Cheney in the Wyoming primary. Cheney, of course, is vice chair of the January 6th committee and was removed from the number 3 post in House GOP leadership last year after voting for Trump's impeachment.